everyone, welcome to another video from Fantasy Football Scout. Welcome to the new channel. Thank you if you're here. We have 200 subscribers, we're growing, Josh. We're growing slowly but steadily. So thanks everyone who's here. If you haven't subscribed to the channel already, please do. If you want to like this video at the end as well, or leave a comment, all these things help the YouTube algorithm. That means more people can find us, the channel can grow, and we can keep doing them. Josh, how are you?
I'm great, thanks, mate. How about you?
I'm good. How was your holiday?
Yeah, it was really, really good, thanks. It's just when you get back to work, you realise how good the holiday actually was, like even more, I think. Like it was exhausting for me on Monday. I barely got through the day, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, it was quite a big one, right? You had loads of people there. You was, partying hard, were you? Spending your fan team winnings?
Yeah, spending a little bit for sure. There was 10 of us. We've all been mates since uni, so like we've all stuck together. So we always do that sort of thing like a couple of times a year. But it was extra special because we haven't seen each other for quite a while, obviously. So
yeah, nice.
We made the most of it and got a nice place. So yeah. But anyway, enough about that. Let's talk about fantasy football.
Did you manage to watch any at the weekend? Did you enjoy?
Yeah.
You enjoyed the football?
Yeah. So I didn't watch any at the weekend. I watched it all back afterwards. Because there's been nothing to do once I've got back to England, so it's like just watch football again, isn't it? But yeah, I was quite impressed with some teams. I'm sure we'll get onto it.
We will, yep. Hi to John Chappelle in the chat, asking if this is live or pre-recorded. This is live, which is what I thought I'd give you your own special shout-out. 15 in the chat, so yeah, thank you all for being here. Yeah, so what we're going to do in this one is we're going to just take a look back at the team Josh and I built last week. We built it with the very clickbaity title of "This is going to win FanTeam." I'm not sure we will. It didn't do that well. We did all right, but it didn't do amazingly well. And then we're going to build a team because it's the late registration, so you get 95% of the average score. Do you know the average score, Josh?
79. Well, 79 is the amount you enter with in game week 2. So I think 83 was the average.
Cool. So if you have a FanTeam team and you got over that score, then pretty good. If you've got under that score, which 3 of my teams did, then you might need to think about a late reg team because you're already at a bit of a disadvantage. I think it's a bit of a. How do you feel about the late reg? Do you think 95% is like a good score, or do you wish it was a little bit lower?
As someone who's late regging, I think it's very reasonable and very generous. But I think if I wasn't late regging and say I'd put all of my entries in week 1, I'd feel a bit hard done by. I think it's super generous, but it means the player pool's going to grow. So I don't blame them for doing it this way, to be honest. But it is very generous. Yeah,
absolutely. And I mean, it might be that some of the players that people sort of knee jerk in off the game week 1 don't do as well as people think, and actually the squads we built game week 1 could do better. It's an interesting one. It's interesting. I do feel that like 3 of my teams that are under that. I mean, I've got one team which is like 55, and I feel like that team is just pretty much a dead team now because there's no chance I'm gonna win with that. But yeah, I guess you never know. Right, so let's go into this first. So this is our team that we built last week. So we had Backman in goal with a massive 1 point. Trent. Tierney, who I sort of managed to convince you into going with, had an absolutely outrageously good game, didn't he? Have you seen his stats from that match?
It was such an open game. I know he had a lot of, was it 6 chances created or something like that? It was bizarre. Yeah, it was one of the most open games of football I've seen in a while, actually. But yeah, we didn't get anything, did we, mate?
You've got to think though that if he's going to carry on that kind of attacking threat. I mean, Brentford had the most chances conceded down the left of all teams. Tierney was just on one. Like he was just they were looking to get him the ball as much as they could. He was creating chances. They just didn't have anyone that could convert it. So you've got to hope that when Lacazette or Aubameyang or Odegaard's coming in, some of these players might be able to convert it. So I'm 2 tough fixtures to come. But after that, it's a good run for Tierney. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with him. We went for Soufal. Did you see Antonio's miss?
Yes.
Unbelievable.
He was unlucky as well. Soufal was unlucky as well. I mean, he's very attacking as well. I'm more than happy with that again. And I just worry about the clean sheets for West Ham. Do you?
I do, yeah. I think the centre-back partnership isn't the best in the league. Let's put it like that. I think, you go for Soufal and Creswell because they're the types of players who, even when they concede, there's still a high chance they're going to get some kind of attacking returns. So I'm not overly worried about him. But yeah, when you think that sort of clean sheets are bread and butter for defenders, it is a bit of a concern. Creswell was good though, wasn't he? Really attacking. as well.
Yeah, I had a little bit of him in some of my teams. Yeah, I was thrilled that he got given the goal, didn't he? I think in the end, like
Yeah, he
it was
did.
a bit of a dodgy one, but we'll take it.
Yep, absolutely. We went for Mane, massive disappointment. I mean, Mane's 4.3, but you expect him more away at Norwich, and it's one of those ones where I think we talked about it last time. He's such an attractive price that you kind of want him in your team, but yeah, he's got to start performing because you've got to remember that he is a 10 million midfielder and not a 8 or 9. So with the likes of Son knocking around and other premiums that we want to move to, the fixtures are good for him. But yeah, he might be someone that's we give up with sooner or later. Your boy Ward-Prowse, only 2.7. What did you make of his performance in Southampton in general?
I really need to know whether he's got those penalties. I think if he doesn't have the penalties, I think it's a disaster pick, to be honest. I mean, he's never going to do so badly because like he gets all the set pieces at least. But like, I really want to monitor that one. I'm not. I think they might struggle this season in terms of staying
going
up.
off your boy James.
Yeah, well, I didn't want to say it like in those words because it's a bit disrespectful to him. But no, there's another one. Sarr, I thought he was incredible at the weekend. I thought he was absolutely unbelievable. And when you compare that to holding midfielder James Ward-Prowse, it doesn't quite it doesn't quite make him as attractive, I don't think.
No, I mean we're definitely going to be talking about Sarr because I'm going to be pushing for his inclusion. I don't know if it's going to be this week. I think we can maybe wait a bit, but I think he's going to be someone that we strongly consider. We had Salah captain, which was good. We had Thomas Souček. Now, Thomas Souček, a goal for him, really threatening like throughout, 90-minute man as well. He's a solid pick, isn't he?
We got one right, mate.
We got one right.
All the way to the end of the midfield, but we got one right. And to be fair, we had Salah and Bruno, didn't we? So
yep, we had Bruno in there as well, and then we had Ings and we had Tony. I mean, we didn't have Antonio, which was... I checked this team and thought, I'm sure we had Antonio, but we didn't because we went 5 in midfield. So, yeah, I mean, we've basically got Souček over Antonio. Are you still happy with that?
Well, I think there's an opportunity to have both at some point for sure. I mean, the fixtures are good now, but I think you always want to try and roll the transfer in game week 2, don't you? If you can help it. It's just like a fantasy football 101, but I do regret not having Antonio, I think. Even over Ings, I think I'd rather have Antonio at this point for sure.
Well, we will come back to this at the end because we need to decide on our transfers for this team. But for now, let's go to the main bit of the video. And excuse me, my nose is running because I've got this horrible cold. If anyone saw Black Box last night, I got through a whole box. Literally, my box is empty now. So I'm having to use like the dregs of old tissues, which is incredibly attractive. But let's move over to building our team for the late reg. So... just give us a bit of a thing of what you're thinking is with this. How many kind of players, how similar do you think this team is going to be to, the team that we built last week?
So between game week 1 and game week 2, I think there was always the hope that we get like loads of extra information or like that everything would change and like maybe lots of the game week 1 players would flop. But as we know, that just didn't happen. Like the template was super strong, wasn't it, mate, in week 1? It got like 90, 100 points, I think, like for a lot of teams.
Yep.
But I think you can still be subtly different. I think there's a few people I didn't pick on any of my teams in game week 1 that I'm now going to include in game week 2. Maybe some Tottenham players, for example, looking at how well they played. They got rid of the bad fixture as well, which they happened to win anyway. They've got a couple of nice ones now, and I think it goes on for a little while. So I don't think Tottenham are a bad pick at all as one example. What else are you thinking? Have you got anything that stood out to you?
Yeah, I mean, there was teams that played well, wasn't there? And teams that I'm now kind of thinking, maybe. I mean, Villa, for example, are a good example. Villa, that performance they had has made me think, as soon as these good fixtures are gone, I think, there's going to be an exodus of getting rid of them. And, I thought maybe, someone like Ings or Buendia might be, if they really hit form on these 3, then you might be thinking, I can keep them. But I think there's going to be games where they perform like they did in that first match. I just don't think their defence is quite up to it. I think their midfield can be bullied, and I think they're going to struggle in some of the tougher games. I mean, Brentford were brilliant as well, and they've got some good fixtures to come. I mean, Ivan Toney was someone that we kept talking about, at 6 million in FanTeam, and I saw nothing to make me think that he's not going to be a good pick going forward. I thought it was absolutely excellent performance, like a proper centre-forward performance. Not the best fantasy performance because didn't have any shots, didn't really threaten too much, but the way he bullied Arsenal centre backs, and they'll use him differently in different games. So yeah, I'm really happy with him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he got man of the match on Sky, didn't he?
did.
They gave him man of the match.
Yeah, he was
Just on
fantastic.
Brentford, I was definitely put off them defensively a little bit though. Even though they kept the clean sheet, they looked so open. And to be fair, maybe that means the goalkeeper makes more saves, because I had a little bit of Raya in some of my teams. You say last week. I don't think I'd want to necessarily include him in some of my teams this week. I know they've signed another goalkeeper as well, or are about to. So that just puts a bit of doubt on it as well for me. So I think Brentford going forward, I think Mbuemo and Tony are terrific picks, to be honest.
Yeah, I think people might overlook Brentford's defensive vulnerability based on the fact they kept the clean sheet. If Arsenal had someone that could finish, they could have scored 3 or 4 quite easily. Like it was
Could have been a 4-3 game, yeah, easily.
It really could. So if they're going to approach sort of big matches like that, you've got to think when they start coming up against the likes of Chelsea, United, Liverpool, even teams like West Ham, Villa, like with good attacking players, they're probably going to concede quite a few goals. I mean, the games will be almost like kind of Leeds of last year. The game is going to be really entertaining, but yeah, I think rushing to stock up on their defensive assets might not be the best plan. And then there was some other performances. I mean, it was great to see Ricardo Pereira, for example, like bombing up and down the pitch again. Got the assist for Leicester. Marcus Alonso as well. I guess we don't really want to go there because of Chilwell and that, but it was great to see his free kick as well, like a great goal. And Son, I mean, Spurs are the team that I think we should start with, because Spurs go into quite a good run of fixtures now. We didn't even really consider any Spurs players going into our first draft. What do you think of them now?
Well, I was on. I'm going to shamelessly upset Callum from FanTeam Focus here, but he told me to stay away from all Spurs players except Harry Kane, basically. So I was thinking quite heavily on Reguilon, because I thought he just looks a really good price at 5 million. I thought that was a really, really good price. And he swayed me off. He said, "Don't go for us. We won't keep any clean sheets." And then, of course, they keep a clean sheet against Man City. So I think those are the two to start with for me. I don't know. If, are we just going to put in those two to begin with now in the Tottenham boys, or is that what you think?
Yeah, we can do. I mean, I think Son. I mean, we had Mane in our first draft.
Has to be Son.
I think we should go for Son. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I was going to push for Son to be in. So he can go in. And you think Reguilon as well?
I really do for 5 million. I think the price is so good. It can be part of a rotation at 5 million. I don't think it's the end of the world to pay 5. Like we did the same with Tierney, didn't we, in week 1? So Reguilon can just have like the Tierney or Kufal spot. I don't think that's a bad thing.
Okay, Reguilon can go in.
Yeah. So there's I don't think we need any more Tottenham, mate. So I think we can.
Yeah,
we can move on.
let's back off on the Spurs.
Feels like we got a bit excited.
I predict on Black Box last night. I predicted them to lose 1-0 to Wolves. So I'll be hoping now that they can do a bit better than that. So let's before we just go by team, let's do it by position. It's probably a bit easier. So how about in goal? What are you thinking? I mean, we went for Bachmann straight away. Conceded 2 goals quite late to Villa. Do you still think he's going to be the one to pick, or are you now thinking maybe Raya, for example, or is there other goalkeepers that you're looking at?
So for me, I think we should go something a bit different than what we went on the other team. So I think Sarr and Ruddy from Wolves, I think that's a really nice combination. And week 4 to 7, I think week 4 to 14, actually, they've got really good fixtures. They seem to have all the good teams. Like they seem to be playing all the reasonably easy fixtures. So I think Sarr and Ruddy for 4.5 and 4 is a really nice combination as like an alternate to Bachmann.
Yep, I like it. Yeah, sorry, Josh, you'll be able to hear me blow my nose, but the people on the channel won't, because I'm muting on the stream. I saw you.
I was worried about that.
No, I'm a professional. Don't worry. I like that. I like. I thought Sarr was someone. Wolves in general, I thought they were going to get battered, to be honest, by Leicester, and they looked fairly decent. So with the run they've got, I think that might be a decent shout. They've got Spurs though. We've just put 2 Spurs players in.
We're picking for the long term. It's not like a week. It's not a week long game. You know what I mean? I think on the weekly games, I would never ever do this. So on like one of the monster series or something. But the fact that Sar's 4.5, you can have the scenario where he makes 10 saves and Son has 5 shots on target. It's quite unlikely, but like they might both get loads of points. You know what I mean? It's definitely a thing that can happen. So I'm not as worried with the FanTeam reward on saves. I think we're good.
Okay, good. So you're saying Sarr and Ruddy, not Sarr and Woodman. You think go for the keeper in the backup.
No, I always go for the keeper and the backup, and I know Ruddy's second choice there. It's one of the teams I'm confident that he's second choice because I think he signed a contract and they said you will be second choice. So
Yep.
I'm absolutely fine with him. Same as Bachmann and Foster.
Okay, cool. So what about in defence? I mean, our last defence was Trent Tierney, Soufal, Veltman and Eiling. You thinking something similar to that?
Well, I don't think Eiling's done anything wrong to lose his place. That's for sure. I mean, that goal was unbelievable, wasn't it?
I know, amazing.
I did tip him for an attacking return. I didn't quite think it was going to be like that though.
Like I thought it was curler from outside the edge of the area. It's a great goal.
It was going to be week 10 or something, not week 1. So I mean, he was obviously rooted to a lot of benches, but I think because Veltman, Semedo, and Bertrand all didn't play, a lot of people got him on. Actually, I think a lot of people got Eiling on. I didn't, of course, but I know some of my friends did. So well done to them.
Yeah. So, well, that sounds like you want Eiling back in then.
Yeah, I think he's one of the best 4.5s, if not the best 4.5. It's like you don't have to play him every week. He's probably first sub a lot of weeks, but I don't mind him at all.
So you're not worried about the fact Leeds looked absolutely awful defensively from the first minute?
We saw a lot of games like that where they looked the same last season, but then they also put in some really good defensive performances last season. So I don't think it's gonna knock their confidence too much. I think they've seen this before. They lost the same game last year, 6-2. You know what I mean? So, and they kept 12 cleans last year.
It was quite interesting. I was talking to Seb, who's a big Leeds fan. He's just massively. He's not anti-Leeds at the moment, but he's worried about Leeds' potential going forward, both at the back and up front. To the point where in his FPL team, he's playing Dean over Rafinha this week because he's convinced that Leeds are going to lose the game coming up. But he had some stats last season which were about when Leeds put in the really good defensive numbers and everyone was defensive performances and everyone was singing their praises. The numbers were actually quite poor. The XGs they were conceding were actually like higher than they were conceding earlier in the season. And when I kind of said to him, well, why do you think you managed to keep so many clean sheets? He was just like, luck. A lot of the time, just luck.
It's quite a damning assessment. Yeah.
It was a pretty damning assessment. It does worry me a little bit about Leeds at the back. And I mean, they weren't just poor against United. Like, you can understand, United have got amazing attacking players. They were playing well. All their players seemed to be on song. It was the mistakes they were making at the back that was the worry. I mean, in the first half, they just kept giving the ball away, like just sloppy passes, crosses to no one, and teams are just going to jump on that. So, yeah, I'm going to trust you, but I'm not totally sold on Eiling, if I'm being honest. But he's in. Are we going to stick with the Brighton double up then with him and Veltman?
Yeah, it's either Veltman or Webster. I'm hoping Veltman's back this week. I was hoping
Veltman's back.
You could. Oh, okay. Thank you very much.
Well, I mean, as long as he's not having to isolate, if he's fit, he's in the team. Like there's no doubt. We played Gross at left wing back, and it was just a really really weird team that we put out against Burnley, and in the second half, Potter changed it and put out a competent team, and we won. So he's going to learn from that. He's going to go back to the system that he knows best. And Veltman is absolutely key part of that while Lamptey's out. So I've got no doubt that Veltman goes straight back in. So he's still my pick.
Yeah, let's stick with those. And it sounds like we're being a bit boring, but I think that is genuinely the best 4.5 rotation for the last sort of stop. So I don't see why we'd change that really. Well,
this is the thing with this late reg team is you've put in players in your first teams for a reason. You don't want to just completely rip them all apart off the back of 1 week. Like you've still got to say they're good picks. It's just tweaks, right? It's just a few tweaks we can make. Like Son over Mane to me makes complete sense because now we've seen Spurs in that first game. We've seen what Spurs are about and what they're capable of. We know that he's okay. Whereas City could have won that game 5-0 and we think, okay, we're definitely avoiding Spurs. So yeah, we've just got a little bit of knowledge. It can't be used to like completely influence us, but it's just enough to make a few changes. Okay, so other defenders. So are we sticking with Trent?
Yeah, I mean, I think Trent v Van Dijk's really interesting actually because I think Van Dijk's really well priced as well. And now that we know he's playing and fit, I think he's definitely in consideration. But that's another bit of information we got in week 2 that we didn't have in week 1. Like we didn't know whether Van Dijk was going to play. It was likely he was, but the fact that he's playing and 6 million, I think he's a bit too cheap as well.
We could get both.
We could do. Should we do that? I mean, now that we're not getting Mane, I think we can do that now. I think
I've stuck them both in, Josh.
Amazing. I think that I couldn't pick between the two, to be honest. So.
And then we've got a rotation of Regulon, Eiling, or Veltman, which isn't. I think, like we've talked about before, in FanTeam, you do seem to have a little bit more money to play with. I mean, some players just a little bit cheaper than others. Like Van Dijk, for example, or Son being you know, 0.5 less. So yeah, I mean, I guess we're sticking with Salah as well. He was absolutely incredible, right, in that game.
Yeah, he was. So he did really well. Don't get me wrong. I think he just has this like knack of being in the right place, and he knows what to do to get the points. Like, I mean, I don't know if he's obviously not playing for fantasy football, but he just seems to always, it either drops to him, or I think he miscontrolled it to Jota for the first goal.
Yeah,
Honestly,
for
like,
sure. Yeah.
I'm like, he just seems to get the rub of the green. But in week one, you can't go without him. He just seems to score every year. He's 5 years in a row now. I think
I
he
know,
scored in
new
week one.
record. I mean, his goal though. I mean, it was Jamie Redknapp doing the commentary on it, and sometimes I think maybe his punditry's a little bit suspect, but I thought he was spot on when he was so irate with Norwich's defending of that corner, and when it got headed out and Salah's just on the edge of the box with no one marking him. Like, it's, you talk about like the ball falling to him, but if no one's defending it and if no one's like anywhere near him, he's just going to put it in the top corner, isn't he? Like, he's a world-class player. So Norwich were not. It was weird. Norwich seemed to deal quite well with everyone except for Salah. they just couldn't cope with him. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what he does against. But he has a really poor record against Burnley. But I think most are backing him for some more returns in that. I guess the other one is Fernandez. I don't think we can really go out of him. I mean, you know,
not the new centre forward Bruno Fernandes.
Absolutely.
No, I don't think we can go without it. Oh my
No.
God, I couldn't believe how far forward he was. Could you?
No, and it was obviously a tactic they had to exploit that kind of middle, and it worked because the amount of mistakes Leeds were making in the middle of the park was scary. And Greenwood dropping back as well and letting Fernandes bomb forward. They just had so much attacking threat with Pogba as well. You think they've got Sancho to come on. They've just got, you know, last season they started weak, but this season it looks like they're going to be, you know, right up there. So yeah, Fernandes is someone really. What do you think about Pogba at 7 million in this? He's decent price. I guess he has to start on the left though, right?
Yeah, like I think I was talking to a few mates yesterday, and the worry is in the easy games, will he drop back into one of the two CDM roles, which is just a disaster if that happens. They have got so many attacking players, but I guess while Rashford's injured, I guess he is maybe favourite to play on the left wing. I think.
Yeah, I mean, he could drop out for Sancho, right? Sancho could come on the left, Greenwood could come on the right, and they could put Cavani up front, or, you know, Martial could come in, I guess. But why would they change it? Like, this is game week 2. It works so well.
That's what I mean. And like the way Bruno was playing, I think that is favoured to not playing Cavani. Like, so the way Bruno was bombing forward, I think if Cavani plays, he can't do that as well, because Cavani won't vacate the space. Cavani will just stay up top. You know what I mean?
Yep.
God, I'm showing flashbacks to that Leeds defending. I don't know if Ayling is the best pick, actually, thinking about it.
Well, Nick Sharp asked in the chat, why have we gone for no United defenders? So Maguire, for example, is someone who loves to take shots. You know, up against Southampton the next game with, you know, no Vestergaard, probably going to concede quite a few from set pieces. What do you think about Maguire?
Definitely not a bad pick at all. He's in some of my late reg thoughts, definitely. It's just, you can only pick 5, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I definitely like 2 of those to be really budget for like on the bench mainly, because I always play 3 at the back. So that only leaves 3 spots. And then I've talked about how Reguilon's underpriced. Trent, a lot of people are going to have as well. I think that's the spot I'd argue you could put Maguire in and save 2 million maybe. But
we're not doing that.
No,
I mean, Reguilon would be the one that I mean, you've got a lot of love for Reguilon, which is maybe a little bit misplaced, but I do like him. I think he's one of Spurs' best players, very attacking. The jury's still out for me a little bit on Spurs. I want to see how they perform against a team like Wolves before I really make my mind up, because it's, you know, in some ways you see a team that gets, I mean, look at Arsenal, for example. Arsenal are a team that can somehow get themselves up for a big game. You know, they play Chelsea, United, Spurs. They've got decent records in these matches, and then they play someone like Brentford and they're awful. So I do worry a bit that Spurs have put in like their best performance against City, and now they're going to Wolves, and we're going to see, you know, a bit, you know, players like Skip and Højbjerg and Tanganga and Davinson Sanchez and, you know, Mora. These just aren't like really top elite players. Maybe Højbjerg is, but yeah, I think the Wolves game is going to be very telling for them. But no, I'm happy to stick with him. We're currently ignoring United defence. Okay, so the last spot. So obviously we got Souček in our other team and Ward-Prowse. We played 5 in midfield. I'm guessing you're not going to be pushing for Ward-Prowse going forward, but how about Souček?
Yeah, absolutely. I love the fixtures for West Ham. as we talked about Antonio earlier, he's just incredible as well. I don't think a double up's the worst thing for those two. I think West Ham will score and concede goals from what we've seen at the weekend and the end of last season. So I don't think having two is a bad thing. Souček's got the 90 minutes and he looked such a threat again on Sunday. I really thought he put in a good performance again. But the jury's out on James Ward-Prowse for now. We'll come back to him, I'm sure, later in the season. But for now, I think we need a new one in that slot, don't we, mate?
We do. And still Souček over Benrahma?
This is the classic debate. For me, yes. My friends think absolutely not. They think Benrahma's the one to attack at the moment. I just know Benrahma's never going to get 90 minutes. Like even before they signed someone, and I think they are linked with Lingard again the last few days. So if Lingard came in, I think that just kills Benrahma, to be honest. Like he might still start, but he just will never get more than 60, 70 minutes.
Yeah.
Whereas Souček's just like, he's never coming off the pitch ever unless he gets injured or sent off, basically. So
no, you're the champ. We've got to listen to you. Forget your friends. Okay, so what about our fifth spot? So I guess the question is, are we staying with five in midfield or are we moving to three up top?
Well, the name I'd like to throw into the hat is Sarr, obviously from Watford. I thought he looked absolutely incredible at the weekend. And he's a 90-minute man, and we think he's got penalties as well. So this could just be the perfect FanTeam pick again, I think.
Absolutely. I mean, he's definitely someone that I'd be pushing for a transfer for in a few weeks, but I'm more than happy to go with him, right from the off. I think him, Salah and Fernandes for me were the standout performers last week. He was just so good, and like he's playing Brighton this week, and I'm a little bit worried. I think we'll do better at containing him than Villa did. I mean, they can't do any worse than Target. Whoever we put on the left wing left back isn't going to do as badly as Target did. But yeah, he's definitely a concern. Teams are going to fear him. Every team Watford play are going to be like, oh God, not Sarr. Everyone else in the team is kind of dealable with, but yeah, not him. And I think most people have written them off going into Gameweek 1, but I think as long as they've got Sarr, I think they've got a chance in any game they play. So, yep, I'm more than happy to put him in. Up front, so we had Ings and Tony. I mean, I'm putting Tony straight back in because, like I said, I didn't see anything from him to make me think he's suddenly not a good pick. 0.5 underpriced, I think, in this game. What about your Hurst as well? We could go for him. Your boy, your 4 million.
Yeah, he has to be in if we're going 3-5-2, I think he gets in every team, literally. Like having a 4 million eighth attacker is like unheard of on FPL, so we have to take advantage on FanTeam, I think. Yep.
So that means we've got one spot, we've got 8 million. We had Danny Ings in our last team. We could also go for Calvert-Lewin, he played really well. We could go for Antonio and double up with West Ham. We've got some options there.
There's so many options in that spot, and that's almost why I'm almost thinking about having two of these on some of my teams. On this one, it works perfectly to just have one, obviously, with the amount we've got left, 7.5 or 8 million, whatever. But there's so many of these guys, isn't there? I think you haven't, I don't think you'd go Wilson in this spot now because the others look so much better. But Richarlison for 7 million is absolutely terrific price. I think it's a crazy price, to be honest.
Yep.
He looked amazing on Saturday as well, along with DCL. So I think the favourite's Antonio, do you?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I'm a little bit tempted by Calvert-Lewin. I think I wasn't really sure how Everton would set up, and the tactic was cross the ball in for Calvert-Lewin as much as possible. And so it doesn't look like too many things are going to change from last season. I think he is going to get goals from that. I think it's between him and Antonio for me. I mean, bearing in mind he's had one touch in the penalty area the whole game.
I think that's a really close one, to be honest.
It is a close one.
It's again, do you just keep the 0.5 back? You know what I mean? Is that the deciding factor that Antonio's 0.5 less? Because I think their output's really similar. I think it could be really similar.
I think we go for Antonio.
Yeah. And I'm just wondering if my only concern now is this 2 template? Is this enough to make up some points over the next 5-6 weeks? You know what I mean? Is it enough? Because it just looks like a super team that we would have picked in week 1. You know what I mean? Almost.
Well, so this is coming to how many points? 70?
79 you get. 79. So you'll be roughly you're obviously 4 behind the average and you're 21 behind anyone who got into the 100 club, basically. So it doesn't seem the worst amount of points to make up over 37 weeks, does it?
No, it doesn't. I mean, how could we differentiate? I mean, this is the problem, right? Is there still is such a strong template, and the template all performed game week 1. So trying to be too different. I mean, bearing in mind this is like our one team. You know, obviously if we were putting in combined 3 or 4 late reg teams, we could be a bit more different. But I think considering this is our one team, I think we have to be relatively sensible with it. So I'm happy with it.
Well, to be fair, Souček's low owned at the moment. Sar's low owned. I think Van Dijk's pretty low owned considering how is it.
Yep.
That's so low for Van Dijk, literally.
Reguilon 6%.
Yeah, and I know Antonio's really heavily owned, isn't he? And so is Tony. I think actually
Antonio.
Those two are really high.
Both 50%. Yeah, I mean, maybe we could go without one of them. Maybe we do go without Antonio then.
Put Calvert-Lewin in, maybe see what I think he was like much less 15%. Than that. So. Yeah, so
let's go for Calvert-Lewin. Let's go for Calvert-Lewin. Yeah.
We're only doing this because we were unsure on that spot. By the way, we don't look at ownership always, do we? But I think just for that last slot, let's go for the lower owned guy.
Captain.
This is a tough one this week.
It is, isn't it? It is. I can
see both
tough.
sides of this one for sure. I can see both sides of this one. They were both terrific, weren't they, at the weekend? So I wouldn't go Son personally, by the way, in case anyone was considering that. I think Bruno and Salah are just so good.
Cool, come then. Pick one.
I don't want to. I was hoping you'd do this bit.
Who are you going FPL? Who are you going in your full team?
I'm going Salah on all my teams at the moment.
So I'm going Fernandes.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
I think. And not completely confirmed, but that's the way I'm leaning.
I had a feeling we'd be in this spot where one of us said Salah and one of us said Bruno. So.
Well, Salah's this is what Mark and I were saying last night. Salah's a safe pick. He's gonna get you at least a goal. He could get a hat trick, but I just think Burnley have got a better chance of putting in a dogged performance than Southampton do. I think United could run riot against Southampton.
That's a really good point. That is because Southampton were nothing short of dreadful, weren't they? Really, at the weekend defensively.
So my kind of push is that if we are looking to make up ground quite early on, going for who I think has the bigger points potential would be Fernandes. So well, that's it. He's the one that I'm gonna suggest.
Okay. You know what? Let's go Bruno. I don't think there's much in it, and again, he's going to be less captained than Salah. He's going to be a lot less captained than Salah, I would say, because people just default to Salah.
Listening to me, game week 1, game week 2. Oh God. Yeah, great. Okay, so that is our team. Then I'm going to enter that. Thank you for FanTeam. We got a free ticket for this, so very generous of them to sponsor our late reg team. That team is in. Let me just set up the subs and everything.
I'll do a quick plug while you're doing that, by the way. So, Fantasy Football Scout just put out a tweet last night, I believe. There's 2 free tickets to give away, and all you have to do is like and retweet that tweet, and then you have to subscribe to our new channel as well. So,
which is this one. So if you're watching it, this one,
this one we're on here, and there's 2 free tickets, as I said. So definitely do that because who knows, you might do really well out of one of these 2 late regs that are being given out. So yeah, good luck, guys.
And you're supporting us. What can be better? Cool. Right, that's locked in then, Josh.
Woo. I'm hoping it goes slightly better than what we put in last week. But what score did we end on for our week 1 team? By the way?
We got 85, so over the average.
That's fine. Yeah, like anything over the average, you've almost got to be happy with that in week 1. We had the two big guns in midfield. A lot of people went without one of them for the sake of being different, I think. So we made ground on a lot of those people. So I think it's quite well placed. So are we going to look at any potential transfers?
Yeah.
Or are we going to start for that team?
We are. So just looking at the team now, it's on the screen. So we've got Batman in goal. I put Trent, Soufal and Veltman in. And then Mane, Ward-Prowse, Salah, captain at the moment, Souček, Fernandes, Ings and Tony. And then Tierney on the bench with Hurst and Eiling. So it's Ward-Prowse really who's the kind of bit of the worry, right? Looking at this, I think everyone else is okay, but he's the one that I'm thinking, not too sure on anymore.
What are you thinking on this? Are we going to go quite aggressive, or are we going to play super sensible with this one? What are you thinking?
Well, I think we can go pretty aggressive, right?
If we're going aggressive, we can do the move by all means. Yeah, like I think that's the one clear spot, as you've identified, that like it looks like a problem now. It does look like a problem already. The only thing I'd say is obviously he can get an attacking return out of anything Ward-Prowse can, because obviously it all comes from set pieces.
Yeah.
So like Man United's fixture doesn't really put me off really for someone like him. But who would you think to bring in?
Well, Saar.
It's Sar's got like, so I think on late reg you put him in to like save the transfer, but do you like use a transfer to get him in?
That's a very good point.
He has got two tough fixtures. I think like, well, Brighton. I mean, it's not so tough, but like the XGA is normally very good for Brighton. Like they normally don't concede many chances. So on paper, it's a tough game at the Amex. And then after that, they have got a tough fixture. I think in week 3. I think they got one of the top 6, one of the last year's top 6. I can't think.
It's game week 4. You want him. The run for Watford was really good. So maybe we do say that. Maybe we do give Ward-Prowse another run out and see what he can do. I'm just not expecting him to get anything against United. I just think United are going to be so dominant in that game. I mean, I know he only needs like a good set piece every or something like that, but yeah,
2 transfers is just so valuable in week 3, isn't it? Like it's just so valuable to just roll it. I think.
Okay.
It's what I'm trying to do. Let's roll it.
Let's roll it. Wow, that's a boring end to the video, isn't it? Sorry, everyone. We're going to roll the transfer. I think that's pretty much it then from us. Like Josh said, if you find the Fantasy Scout tweet and retweet it and subscribe to this channel, there's 2 free entries that we're going to be giving away. But yeah, thanks all for watching. Hopefully this has been helpful. Get your late reg teams in. Like I said, if you've got teams that are under the average, then I think you might as well at least stick one in. We haven't really talked about Lukaku, for example, who's someone that you might want to consider, but obviously Chelsea's run is quite tough, but he could be someone who you added in, right? Because obviously we're expecting him to be in the team straight away against Arsenal. Yeah,
I'm already planning on like figuring out a way to get him in for week 7 when those fixtures turn. They're just amazing after that, and at his price at 10.5, I think I'm going to struggle to not have him in like all my teams. I think so.
Yeah, well, it's why it's quite nice that we've got Mane, because it's going to be quite an easy switch, I think, when it comes to it in game week 7 to switch Mane out for Lukaku for us.
Yeah. Like I don't think you need to have a premium forward, and to be honest, there's none really to pick from anyway. I think it was only really Vardy who actually started in week 1, who's like a premium forward. So we didn't need to go that route. Mane's the bank for it, and even Bruno potentially, if like I think those fixtures turn around then as well. So that could be a way of getting there for people who don't have Mane. But for us, I think Mane, it's just easy to do that, isn't it?
Absolutely. Right, Josh, thank you so much for joining me. Thanks everyone for watching. We'll be back next week, I think back to the usual time of 12 p.m. And hopefully I won't have a cold by then, which would be nice. And just make sure you're subbed to the channel and you like this video. And drop any comments in. If you've got any questions about your team, Josh and I can answer those in the chat, in the comment section too. Josh, thank you, and I will see you next week.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Az.